Welcome to the If We Had the Pencil podcast. I'm your host, Sean Green. With me, as always, is Matt Jackson. And Matt, we're going to bust right into this, but how the hell are you today?
Good, man. Busy. I'm busier on vacation than I'm home in Florida.
Yup.
Yep. Oh,
Yep.
well, I'm in Maine, by the way, Central Maine, a little west of Bangor. So we were up at Cadillac Mountain yesterday, and today was running the trails on the ATV. So, yeah,
I wish
old
I was
man's.
doing that. No, I'm in Southern Maryland
Yeah,
working.
Sean, tell us really quick about your day weather-wise, because Sean sends me a screenshot of the weather. 88 degrees. Cool. Real feel, 99.
I was
Followed
in,
by, followed by, can you believe this shit? I'm dying here.
we're just going to, we're just going to say up front that I was not a happy camper and I may have been sweating in places that I don't normally sweat. So, got back to the room, took a shower. I'm all better. I got extra deodorant on. I smell great. And you know what else was great this week, man? Ron
Wrestling.
Killings is here. And
Yes.
you know what, man? Look, and there's a reason why I say Ron Killings, right? Because he told us all he's not our truth anymore. He is Ron Killings. But we'll get to that when we talk about that. More importantly, though, Matt, I need to set the stage for this because this is going to end up being a be careful what you wish for moment for a lot of fans because everybody screamed, "We want truth, we want truth, we want truth." That's cool. And then, as a side note, half of those people that were saying it were also the same people crapping on him for being in a match with Cena. Neither here nor there. The big thing that people really need to brace themselves for, you ain't getting our truth. You ain't getting the happy go lucky dude. You're getting somebody totally different. And that's important because everybody's like, he makes me happy. He makes me smile. And guess what? You're about to be disappointed because he's taking it serious right now. So, what are your thoughts on our truth or Ron Killings coming back?
Yeah. I agree. We talked about this in our little chat before we went live. Like, you got to expectations. This is not going to be our truth who, worried about spiders and hanging out in the Judgment Day's, man cave. It's going to be, if there's any truth in Ron Killings, it's Ron the Truth Killings, which he may use, but it's Ron Killings, who is still, as Ron Killings, if you remember from his NWA and TNA days, was also wildly entertaining. So I think it's cool. I think it's a way for him possibly to close out at least his WWE career, if not his entire career, to kind of go out as Ron Killings. So I'm excited to see it. I like to see what people change their character around and see what they can do with it. So I think we might see more like Ron Killings, the real Ron, and not our truth. But we still love him, so he still falls under the
I
rule. No
do.
one's allowed to say
I
anything bad about Ron Killings, our truth, the whole whatever next ensemble he wants to be. We love Mr. Killings.
and I want to be clear about that, right? Like I want to be 100% clear. I still love the dude, but I want people to understand you're not getting what you think you're getting. You're getting somebody different, and it's big for him. It's big for everybody. I don't want to get into the minutia of was it a work, was it not a work. I mean, we could talk about that all day, right? All I will say, and we were talking about this right before I hit record, was Bully Ray made a very compelling argument, kind of made both arguments, but the timeline doesn't sit with me right. And I think this is probably a little bit of both, to be honest. It's probably a little bit of contract stuff and it's a little bit of a work.
I
So,
th- I think it's a work, but if there's any of that back and forth Nick Khan phone call, I think it's happened weeks before he even faced John Cena. I think this has been going on for a while, and I think somebody thought it would be a smart idea to like, hey, let's incorporate this whole negotiations, kind of turn it a little bit and make it a storyline. So it's a storyline based on fact, but they maybe added some fiction in it to kind of Hollywood it up. Because, like you said, the timeline. Really quick, too, I want to share about that because we do talk about Busted Open because we like it. So I had left New York on Monday morning and drove to Maine, 9 hour drive. And so we listened to the Busted Open podcast. And the first 2 hours and 10 minutes was nothing except for R-Truth Ron Killing story. So this is a big story. You never see a huge story about like a mid-card guy or even, I mean, let's face it, the last 10 years, he was just like a guy. He was just, the comedy guy that did a little bit. So he wasn't even a mid-card. Like, you never even talk about R-Truth in line for the IC or the US title. Like we were happy he had a tag team title run with The Miz last year. We thought that'd be about it. So the wrestling fans are passionate about who they like. It doesn't have to be a top guy. It just has to be a guy that just people connect with. And I just hope that these people that connected with R-Truth will learn to discover how to connect with Ron Killings in the same way, even
I
though the
agree.
character's different.
I agree. And I want
But
him to succeed, and I can't wait to see where this story takes us. So I'm all good with it. And then, all right, so look, folks, Matt and I got a lot to cover. I already PO'd some people off tonight, so we're gonna go kind of quick, fast, in a hurry here, just because. So the other big thing that happened over this last time period was before we get into the regular WWE stuff, we got Worlds Collide, and let me tell you, for somebody that doesn't regularly see the luchador product, that was eye-opening for me, and it was such a big deal because there's a couple of camps out there, right? Like, well, there's always the one-upper guy, there's always the, I'm gonna crap on everything guy. Look, I, as somebody who is his luchador experiences, people like Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, those kind of guys.
yeah,
Look,
Hunter Vu.
that was eye-opening. It felt right. It felt real. It felt like we were getting exposed to something slightly different. I loved it, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. If you haven't seen it, go. It's on their YouTube. Go back and watch it. It is worth the watch. It was very
Absolutely.
entertaining.
Yes.
So,
So when I watched it with my father-in-law and my mother-in-law and my wife. And I kind of told them because I've watched a little Lucha Libre. I said it's different, and I said it's more colorful, it's more gymnastic style. And I said, I said the characters are like a little goofy. I said, but that's the culture. I said they're over the top. And I said, if you learn to enjoy that, and they loved it because you also got to see that Mexican flavor in the show, or we'll say that even the Hispanic flavor. But Lillian Garcia was awesome from the national anthem through the Spanish ring announcements. Like
mhm.
she is a legend. She's fantastic. And then the bit with Ray, I like they did a lot of it in Spanish. My only complaint is, and it's not even like a big complaint, they could have put English subtitles because if you went on Netflix and
Please.
you put subtitles in, you got Spanish. So it would have just been nice because when they did the promos, talking about like the Lucha Libre style, they did those pre-packages. They all had subtitles while they spoke in Spanish, and it really made it easier to understand. But
It
that is
did.
such a minor thing. I was entertained with the show. The characters were great. We got exposed to some people, and some people look like they're going to be sent right to the main roster. I think it's a win-win, and I hope that we uses AAA so we can get to see either on Peacock or YouTube the Triple Mania shows and the other ones because it was a lot
Well,
of
they're
fun.
already talking about stuff like Triple Mania, and that's big. And it's getting, if anything, WWE's elevating the promotion of that, right? Like it automatically lends credibility. It isn't, and it's important to note, it's not WWE presents this, because like there's poster art out there for Triple Mania right now. They said his name, Matt. You know who's on the poster? Joe effing Hendry. They
Really,
said his name. He's
and
going
he's
to be
there.
there. Yep. So, like, it's going to be cool. But I don't want to belittle the point. Look, folks, if you haven't seen it, go out and watch it. It's worth the watch. I
It is.
promise you. It was really good. There's some crazy spots.
Yes,
Crazy. Like, the opening match was fire. I will say that. And, like, there's a couple of moves that Vikingo, like, hit, and I was like, whoa, what
that
was that?
720 off the ring apron or whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah, that
also
was
I know, and I know what now we're talking about, but the men's four way for the NXT North American title, I love that match, and I loved it because the champion is Ethan Page. does not wrestle that high-flying style, and he actually went outside his comfort zone and did some of that stuff. But, man, some of the moves they were doing, especially having Ray Phoenix in there, and who's the other guy? It was the
I don't know. It was just
Tacoma Kid or something like that. It was a lot of fun, and there was some great spots to that. And, hey, Chad Gable put on a hell of a match against El Volcano. So
Americano Grande or El Grande Americano, buddy. Yeah. That's your boy. That shit has got to end. Whatever. Like, I'm so over it, and like, okay, cool. We got past Worlds Collide. And like, all right. The problem, I am gonna say something about this. And I know we'll end up getting into it later.
You're talking about the commentary during
the commentary is exhausting around the whole setup, right? Like it's got to stop. It's got to stop because like it's exhausting and it's ruining the commentary because they're debating about stupid shit.
Yeah. So, you talk about during Money in the Bank when Wade Barrett started talking about comparing nipples.
Yes.
So Wade Barrett is like that one friend that you take out, and people listen. You probably have that one friend too. That he's a good guy, everybody likes him, but then he comes out and says the most inappropriate thing at the most inappropriate time. That's Wade Barrett, and I like Wade Barrett now, but we did not need to have a 4-minute discussion about nipples and how they taped it.
It detracted so much from the commentary, and it really lessened that match. And it was a good match. Yeah, but in trying to end it, he was also feeding it. So yes, he was. It was a back and forth. They're all guilty, and it needs to stop. But you know what, man? Let's get into SmackDown.
Yeah, let
me tell you something. This SmackDown that dropped right before Money in the Bank had the vibes, man. I literally said to you, I was
fastest like, 3 hours I've seen in a long time.
Because he all of a sudden woke up because that show was about as close to perfect as I've seen a SmackDown booked in God knows how long. Like that show flowed seamlessly.
Yeah. We were texting through about just how well the show flowed from match to segment to interview. Like everything just flowed. It was not choppy. It kept you engaged the entire show.
And it was kind of like hitting the easy button because they had both rosters available to them, you know. And that's why we opened up with, surprise, surprise, Seth freaking Rollins. So, side note, seen a couple of things. One, we're probably getting a new intro from Seth Rollins that is by a well-known artist, and it is not going to be Def Rebel, so it won't suck. The faction's also supposed to be getting a name here shortly as well. So we're going to get some clarity now, and we'll talk about why in a little bit. But they come out. All right, look. There's a few key takeaways here that I'm just going to blurt out, and then you can expand upon. One, Seth's demeanor changed when Solo Sikoa tried to lean into Paul and took, Paul uncomfortable. Seth immediately stepped in front of Paul Heyman and, protected him. That's huge. If you are in this, if you're looking at their faction as it's getting established, you're like, why is Paul Heyman there? We know how he got there, and the initial reason why, that's why. Because Seth is actually protecting him, and that's important. It is very important to the storyline because it lends credibility as to why Paul's there and why he's playing second fiddle to Seth. We know he'll eventually turn, but neither here nor there. Point two, again, Seth's wardrobe, man. They've been dialing it back. It's still a little flashy, but it's nowhere near audacious, and it's smart. Another interesting note out of that, Seth referred to Braun Breaker as the future of the company. I think that's also a big thing, because if you're going to acknowledge him as the future of the company, it doesn't make him a lesser, it makes him a future equal.
Yes.
So that's also huge to say that, because again, what do we see? If you treat your guys like crap, they're not going to respond to you. So that was huge. Jacob Fatu disconnect, got it. Or Jacob and Solo's disconnect, I should say. They leaned into Roman being MIA. And I put as a after note of that, means he's coming back soon. SummerSlam. it's SummerSlam time. He should be showing up pretty soon.
Yes. I liked how Solo also compared Seth to Roman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I
Because
was
Seth
talking
is
about.
Seth is being Roman 2.0.
He is. He's becoming what he hates, and
Yes.
that's part of the story.
Absolutely.
As Bully Ray will say, it's Star Wars. It's always Star Wars. This is Anakin Skywalker being,
Yeah.
his slow drift to becoming Darth Vader. I don't know if he actually said that in this context. I'm just saying everything relates back to Star Wars.
And thank God too that they're finally getting heel heat on Seth. Like the fans are starting to, yeah, they'll sing his song, but he's getting heel heat now, more and more. Especially that show Friday night into Saturday. So good way of building up. If you're having trouble turning a guy that's been loved or the fans just wrap around and making him a heel, they're doing a really good job with Seth how they're doing it. It's kind of like they're doing it through blunt force is what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're going to have to. And I did find it interesting that Solo was semi-protective of Jimmy coming out of that during that time, too. It was interesting. It's an interesting dynamic to have there. And especially with what happened Monday. It makes it all interesting. And overall, that whole segment just advanced two storylines that need to continue to advance. So, a lot of good stuff there. Like I said, we're hitting this fast and heavy. Matt, you got anything else on the opening segment?
No, I don't. I just liked how they were able to segue it right into the match with Jimmy and Mateo. And it was a match. It was good.
Yeah. And that's what I had. I had that match listed and next chapter in the breaking up between Solo and Jacob.
Yep, and it's my notes were we've been talking about how Jimmy Uso needed a story, and some of our TikTok responders were less than kind, but made good points. So my first note was, hey, does Jimmy Uso now? Is they giving Jimmy Uso a story? And then at the end of the match, Mateo yells to Solo about Fatu that he's the problem. Fatu's the problem. So. And they made sure that they caught it on camera and made it audible so we, the fans, could hear him say it. So, again, another part they added to the story. They're doing this. They did this really good with the whole Solo, Fatu, and Mateo thing. But we're going to talk about that more in detail coming up in a little bit.
Yep. So then we get Piper Niven and Selena Vega. Yo, they need some. That's Vince type booking because run it back. Like, bro.
Yeah. If they would have done something different with that match, the whole show would have been probably one of the top SmackDowns I've seen in years. This brought the show down, and I hate this match for two reasons. One, and we've talked about it with the Hervis. Chelsea Green's Hervis loses every week. That makes Chelsea Green associated with losers. So Piper loses again. And she's a great wrestler, great performer.
She's the female Otis.
Yeah, and she keeps losing.
She's the female Otis.
And then the more I watch Selena Vega, the more upset I get that the fact that she's still carrying the U.S. title. She just does nothing for me, and I'm not. Her athleticism, just me as a fan. I'm like, Selena Vega comes out, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Like I don't get any excitement. I will be excited
when she loses it to one of the youngins.
Yes. And I'll be excited when she loses to one of the youngins because, all right, it's just not working. So that's my two beefs with the match. I did think it was funny when she yelled at Alba Fire to get the tables. That was a funny spot. And then just Chelsea, yeah, she's gonna milk that mask forever, and it's great.
I got that in my notes too.
So I already know for the rest of this month it's gonna be a rainbow mask. July, it's going to be red, white, and blue, stars and stripes, buddy. I guarantee she's going to be wearing that. It's just going to change. She's going to wear that thing probably through the summer. And
she's going to go over in a match using that mask.
That's a weapon. That's a weapon. Of course it is.
Yeah. So, all right. So after that, we get LA Knight. He has a promo. It leads into the match. Nothing special about the promo. It was a standard PLE promo. Knight's been hitting the gym. He's toned up, man. Low weight, high reps. Like he's been toning. And then
he's been working out with Chad Gable probably.
And like the biggest takeaway from this, Seth's interference was perfect. I love the story here. And then the wife actually made a comment. She said she saw who the ref was and knew it wasn't going to be a clean finish.
Yeah,
That
Charles
was the Charles
Robinson.
Robinson one.
Yeah, yep,
Yep.
hundred
It was
percent.
kind of funny and I wanted to point it out just because in the previous pods we've, obviously gave Jessica Carr we gave her props, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like, it's like, this is like Charles Robinson's fine. It's just anytime you see him out there, you're just like, oh, stupid crap about to happen.
A great ref bump. Robinson takes great
Yep.
ref bumps.
Yeah, I know, and he'll be on the mat for like an hour and a half. They'll be like
I did.
carting his carcass out when the next match starts.
He's almost
We
as
get
old
a
as Rick.
I know.
You know.
He looks way better.
Yeah.
We get a Tiffany promo. It was a cute promo. Rhea came out. Nothing major. We get his six-way women's tag with all the people that are in Money in the Bank.
God, was that good?
Vargir's intro is phenomenal. I love that intro. It's one of my favorite intros. The way the horns, it's great. The heels did good work. I wanted to give them props because the heels in that match worked really well. They played the parts of the heels and they worked together as heels, and but they did heelish things. Bliss for coming back, she looked good. There was a smart moment in the match, and you know me, I like when I catch little details, right? There was a point where Rhea was getting ready to go for the cover, but before she did, she realized where she was in the ring, and she pulled Roxanne Perez away from the ropes so she couldn't just reach up and grab the ropes. It was a nice little nuance thing, but I love the nuance.
I don't know if it's just me, but what I've been watching Rhea Ripley the last few weeks, she has just looked fantastic. Like her drop kicks, everything she does is just she's taking it up a notch. Really, really good. I thought the work in this match was phenomenal. I thought Alexa Bliss looked super crisp. Like she's like prime Alexa Bliss is back now. She looks super. That match that was a really fun match. I mean, I gave it an A minus. A super match, and it got you excited about that women's
Yeah.
ladder match, which a lot, the men's ladder match, there was a 98% solution of who knew, who was going to win it. But the women, they kept you in doubt from that 6-woman tag match until the match that night. And it got you excited about that match, and it made Sean and I think like, well, maybe they're looking at pushing this one, and maybe they're pushing that one.
We were all over the map on that one, and we couldn't nail down like who we thought it was going to be. So it did its job. And honestly, I'm just going to say it up front. This entire SmackDown is how a go home show should be, because that SmackDown got me on stuff that I was just like about Money in the Bank. It changed my perception on every match.
It got me excited about the main event tag, which I was kind of about, and by the end of the show, I was like, I was looking forward to the main event.
Then we get the oopsie boopsie Solo talking crap about Jacob in the back. AO happens. Matt, I'm so happy. Wyatt 6 videos are back.
Yes.
And I am so effing happy. And the rich get richer, man. Guess who's going to the tag division? And like, I loved everything about this, because when they dropped that, we finally got the why. Why are you doing this? What are you going after? They're testing the bonds between the tag teams. And the beauty of this was they cut to the locker room and everybody's like, yo. They're like, okay, crap just got real. We need to be aware of this. And I loved how all the face teams were like, we're going to go get them. And like DIY was like, deuces.
Yeah.
Have fun with that.
Which leads me to what I want to ask you. And we've talked about this a little bit. They haven't given away whether the Wyatt 6 is coming back as a face or heel faction. We're kind of we're in the dark about it right now, and I think that's cool because everybody expects it to come back. They get that big pop from the crowd, so the fans assume they're back there as faces. But are they back as faces?
I think if I'm WWE, I'm keeping them tweeners. Like, they can go either way, But I think so long as they continue to cut the Looney Tunes promos for the Wyatt Six and give you the why are we after this person, you can go either way. It doesn't matter, face, heel, whatever. They can stay in the middle. They can be the Switzerland of WWE and kind of like, okay, we're going over here after this guy because he did somebody dirty and like this person's got a past and that's why we're going after him. Like so long as you give the why, you'll know, right? So I'm really hoping that it works out. Yeah, I think they can stay in the middle. I think they can bounce between faces and heels. So long as they give us why they're after somebody, cool. So good stuff.
Make this run with them matter. It seems like just as it gains momentum, something happens and someone gets hurt and they go away or it loses steam. Like, please, like this is like what, try number 3? Let's make this work.
Look, they're over. Like it'll work. Just stick to the formula. It's kind of like this. It's like a damn analogy or whatever it is for this whole SmackDown, right? Like we got back to what works. The Wyatt Six. You cut a video promo. It worked, and it made your tag teams look even better and gave them something new to play with because instead of watching those 4 tag teams like, bounce between each other, we finally got like, okay, cool. Now it's like cool. Now they're like going forward, right? Like they got to worry about the Wyatts now. So
Street Profits said they're even scared of them.
Yeah. And DIY is just like, hey, go take one for the team, guys. You got this. And I love that. So after that, we get Penta and Andrade versus the Creeds. Penta's so good, dude. He is so effing good. And then the match was a blast. I had so much fun watching that match. And it made me excited for Andrade in the Money in the Bank. I was just like, okay, cool. Let's do that.
Yeah, that was the start of Andrade getting beat up all weekend. Because when Julius hit him with that jumping knee when Andrade was perched in the corner, that looks pretty stiff. That was a cool spot. Can they do something better with the Creed brothers? Because they are so naturally good.
I think they just got to find their way a little bit, and I think their storyline needs tweaking. And they
have no part in that whole SmackDown tag team roster. That would just be another added factor, just to that another added element to that SmackDown tag.
Listen,
division.
They're part of the El Grande
they are
Americano
good.
faction.
That's right.
I mean,
Arriba!
Dude is in. Look, man, dude is in tight. Obviously, he's wearing Chad Gable's boots and stretching them out, according to Chad, but whatever. Man, it was a great match. It was just fun.
Similar injuries, yeah. No, that was really good. Hot open. And then what happens at the end of the match? Who comes out again for another appearance? Seth Rollins and his merry men.
It's so good. It set it up so good. Now they're just wreaking havoc on all their they're wreaking havoc on all their dudes, right? Like all the opponents that Seth has, that's what heels do. And it's so freaking perfect.
So we used to complain a lot about a lot of outside interference. That was done so good because it meant something. Because they targeted certain people. It was all Seth's threats for Saturday night. That was the goal for Seth, Braun, and Bronson, was to soften the opponents for the Money in the Bank ladder match. And by them coming out and wreaking havoc, and yeah, they disrupted like really good matches, but it didn't hurt the match at all. It added to it because
added.
It was the old kicking ass and taking names, and that's what they were doing Friday night, and they did it well. Yes, so that's all I got to say about Penta Andrade. What a good team they are too. My goodness,
it's so much fun. Man.
Let's just make WWE the tag team wrestling organization. Good Lord,
tag teams own SmackDown.
Yes.
So after that, you get Seth Rollins and team. After they destroy more people, you get this is how you establish a faction, right? It's like, it was so good. It was so good, and it really launched them a little bit. You finally got some destruction. You got Paul on the mic. Whew. I did pick up on 2 words in there: Destiny or Vanguard. Keep our ear to the ground to see which one becomes a thing. But those were both mentioned.
And Paul is really good about giving the 5 W's: the who, what, where, when, and most importantly, the why. And Paul is so good at getting that across. And that was the thing in my notes. Just Paul is brilliant. And like his ability, like you said, to use some of those like $50 words, like he must just like have a carry a thesaurus or something, or have an app on his phone. Like, okay, 2 new like $50 words that mean something for tonight. And like you probably won't hear him use those words again.
No,
It'll be something different.
It was so good though, and like his, I just I'm just so happy, and like I have a note right after that. The transitions that went on in that SmackDown were so smooth. Like it felt so fluid, and it was great. And there was another one right after Seth Rollins' team there had their moment, and then we get Cody and Jay. You have 2 of the hottest baby faces together. Cody was out there spitting history. You know, the side plates on Cena's belt are so effing tight. The 17 side is good.
It is.
Yeah. And then
And I like that they made it easy to read. Like you don't have to squint to read it. It's there. It's
so
in your face, and it's good. It looks good with the title until
and
it
then,
comes off.
Cena put Paul over to the moon. Like, good on him. It'll be interesting. And then there was this is going back to the R-Truth thing. So the crowd is hijacking this segment, and Cena does what Cena does. He spun that shit. And it's probably the best Cena promo during his heel run up to date. It was that good. So I really enjoyed it.
And the beatdown was really good too.
Yep.
And what do we talk about beatdowns normally? Wait, what Sean, you always
More.
text me. More.
More.
And we got it.
More.
So they did like they kind of did like each guy got like a couple of moves. They got the first one, then they got a second one, and then you think it's over. And what do? They go back out and they drag Jay and Cody's carcass back in the ring, and we got more. But it wasn't too much. It was more. It wasn't just more to just keep going. It was more to make a statement. Left it as that. Made Sean and I happy. We got the more. They didn't give us overkill on the more. Because if you have to leave something.
Kylo Ren meme, man. Like I have that one on speed dial now. Like, I want more. Send the Kylo Ren meme of him yelling more. Like, it is 100% my go-to move now.
So
like,
if I was to give a letter, that was an A show. That is an A-letter grade show. Even with the Piper Niven Vega thing, I'm not going to let one little 6 or 7 minute match.
It was.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It just it was the only thing on the show that like they could have not done that. But
it'd be different if they haven't run that match or a variation of that match 6 million times, right?
Yes.
And it's just like, okay, so they can't get away from each other. It's just that little group of 4 ladies, and we're just going to keep doing it.
And Niven couldn't win even with outside interference and cheating. She still couldn't. Come on, like
I know it's
that makes them look even
ridiculous,
worse.
Matt. It's just. Anyways, let's go on to fun stuff.
Because money in the bank.
We gotta keep this going, man.
Yes.
So originally we went into Money in the Bank, and if you saw our predictions, we went in. There was only 4 matches on the card. Well, guess what? You got a 5th, and you know where you got that 5th? That AAA match, because Dominic Mysterio challenged Octagon Jr. at Money in the Bank. A lot of people, Matt, I do got to say this, a lot of people pulled double duty on Saturday. It was kind of,
Fakir had triple duty. Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night. So, and every time they talked about Fakir, the time was shorter. I was waiting for them to come out. This is a 3rd match in the last 15 minutes. But anyway, let's get on to the Money in the Bank show, because it was a banger.
It was a banger, and the women's match going into it, it had no business being as good as it was, and it was amazing. Naomi wins. She's probably the right answer, I only didn't really lean towards her just because of the whole
Love
love
triangle.
triangle. Any one of those women could have won it. Any one of them.
Yeah. So now that Naomi won, one, I was happy for Naomi because she's just been the team player, doesn't complain, does her work, works with anybody, and so it was nice to see her get that. I mean, the young ladies like Roxanne and Julia working together were really good. Bliss, I made a note about Alexa Bliss's selling.
Oof.
She was doing some really good
Preach.
selling. Yeah,
Ugh,
selling
she was
ring
selling.
psychology, sell it. I hate it when you're supposed to be hurt and people are like, ah, they don't look hurt. Man, make that like look hurt. You want the person in the farthest seat in the arena that can't see the big screen to know that you're suffering. So Bliss does a good job on that. Also, I'm gonna jump ahead, but Lyra, her selling is so far improved. So I'm just jumping a
Yes.
little bit about selling. We've talked about it in the past, but Bliss's selling was awesome. And again, Rhea Ripley was just she was just the one taking the big
She's
bumps.
well, they got a show in Perth coming up soon. She just got to get ready.
Yep. That was just a lot of fun. And 25 minutes and 11 seconds was the match time,
And it
which is
needed to cook. And even when they were only talking about 4 matches, I was like, fine, let the ladder matches cook.
yeah.
I'm good with it. So, but no, it was so solid. Great moments in that. It just, everybody got to shine. Everybody did great work. Yeah, it was really, really, really good. So after that, we got Dominic Mysterio and Octagon Jr. Look, a lot of people poo pooed on this, and I'm like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was good. And I think the more important thing is you got to showcase Octagon Jr. And the reason that's important is because when you went, if you did not watch AAA, you got a taste of AAA, right? Like, look, man, they ain't taking that title off of no, it was to help AAA. It was to
Yes.
be like, hey, look, we've been telling y'all that it was awesome earlier today. Look, you get a taste. It's like a crack dealer, right? Like, first one's on us. You get a taste. Like, let's go. So, yeah, it was good. It was fine. It was fun. It was short.
Well, that
You
was my
know,
first note was like 6 minutes, and I had question marks. So the great thing about Sean and I have talked about like doing reaction videos right after the show. I think it's good that we have a few days to kind of digest it and think about it. Because that was my beef with the match. I actually downgraded it to I gave it a B minus. It could have been higher, and I downgraded because it was only 6 minutes. But now, 4 days later, sit and look at it. If you would have had a 15-minute match where both guys had to use their whole arsenal, now you've seen everything Octagon Jr. did. Like he has nothing else left to give. By having his 6 minutes where he, had a couple of almost got their spots, now you want to see more. More. The word again is more.
more.
So you
Got to
want to
give
see
that
more about the
taste.
because yeah, 6 minutes. You know you're not getting everything. So
And it,
and if you notice in that 6 man tag that he was in, he didn't do a lot of work in that match.
no,
He
they
was
were managing him.
they were managing him for the night. So again, another thing you said, the taste. If they would have had Octagon as one of the main guys in that 6 man tag, for the people that watch it, they would have seen about everything. So
Nobody was upstaging Mr. Iguana. Sorry. Like, but no, it was good. Everybody got a taste. And again, I cannot stress this enough. A lot of people pulled double duty, and that in the same day. So, like, don't underestimate that, especially when you got ladder matches going on. They're very physically demanding for the athletes. So, yeah, just be cognizant of that. And then another great match, Lyra and Becky. So this is the only thing I'm gonna say about it because you and I again we were texting back and forth. I realized about halfway through the match, Becky had to win, and it kind of made me happy, but also bummed me out because I knew she had to win. Because had Becky lost that rivalry means shit. Right now we got to stretch it out a little bit, but she had to get hers because if she had not won that, undermines her heel run. It undermines their rivalry, and it had to happen.
and the thing was to cement that heel character, she had to cheat to win, which she did. And what it also opens it up for is more Becky and Lyra. which
Did
I'm not
she,
going to
Matt?
complain.
Did she cheat? Did she have the trunks? I
Did
saw
I
no good angle.
I saw a good angle.
Huh?
It's
Sure.
out there. So
I
yeah,
know it. It's always out there. But
it's
my
out
point
there.
is the camera work
9,000
actually.
fans with cell phones, pointed at the ring. Someone's got it. But no, I like it because I want to see more Becky and Lyra. That story's not over with. And as we see from Raw, there's another
Ah,
person that's getting acted into that.
ah,
But I'm going to leave it
give
at
it
that
away.
because that's down the line.
It is.
So,
All right. So after that, we get the men's Money in the Bank. Bro, awesome. And you could make an argument for co-MVPs, and that would be Chad Gable. First off, for the whole day, Chad Gable
yes.
/ El Grande Americano are the MVP. That dude put on 2 solid bangers. He did great work. It was awesome. Another thing I loved in this match, Penta was the match MVP for that Money in the Bank.
100%.
That dude did so much, and it was great because he was off camera, and then you hadn't seen him in a while. You knew you hadn't seen him in a while, and then all of a sudden, here he comes again, and it's like, I like this. I like the way they did it. I like the way it worked out. It was great. I like when Seth called for the cronies. It wasn't, and people argue that it kind of made Seth look weak. I get the argument, but here's where it's smart, right? Like, hey, we've all hit that point in our lives, like with something where we're just like, F it, call the guys, right? And that's what that was. It was just like, this is ridiculous. Just get them out here. Let's destroy everybody and get this over with.
Well,
And that's how it read.
if they didn't come out Saturday night, it would have made all the beatings Friday night less important.
Yeah. Well, it
And the
would have
thing
made
is,
them
it
look
shows that Paul and Seth had a game plan. They had a game plan set. So, when the time came to make the call to the bullpen, here comes Braun and Bronson again to just, raise
'cause
hell.
it's important to note Seth was getting his. And this is a delicate balance that you have to walk with Seth right now, which is you cannot make him look weak because he is the leader. So that's probably the best way to get interference without, he called for it. He took his lumps, he took his shots, and then he just hit the, F this, let's get this over with phase. And that's how it came across.
So here's the thing, Sean. If this was a triple threat or a fatal four-way, would the outside interference would have made Seth look weak? I say yes.
Not in the way he did it.
But if you're in a ladder match with 5 other dudes and there's ladders and weapons and craziness, it doesn't weaken Seth because the environment itself is so chaotic. Like, your odds are against you going in anyway. It's 5 against 1, no matter who the competitor is, because it's every man for himself. So if you have 5 other guys to deal with, plus having to deal with ladders and climbing a ladder, it doesn't make you look weak. If Seth was in a triple threat and he called the guys out, that's a pussy move.
Yeah, I get it.
I think it doesn't make Seth look weak by having him come out just because of the nature of the match itself. The odds are against you. You have a 16% chance of winning the match, and then you add all this other elements in the playground with the weapons, and then also it presented opportunity for other things to happen to create a great story within the match. So I liked it. I don't think it makes Seth look weak at all. I think it makes Seth look smart.
Yes.
Seth's always thinking. He's the architect.
Visionary.
He's got a plan.
He has a vision.
Yes, he's a visionary.
Promo on SmackDown too. But to your point, I think I rode Roman Reigns really hard during the Bloodline days, because every match was the same, right? Like, wrestle, interference. Change the guy that's interfering, but wrestle, interference. The problem is, in my opinion, that made Roman look weak. Roman was on the ropes, and then he had to get over it. The difference here is Seth was recuperating. It's already been a brutal match, and now it's just, F it, let's get it done. Whereas when Roman was doing it, it was out of nowhere, and it's just like, oh, it's the plan. It's like, Yeah, but can he get over without it, right? Like, I still feel like Seth can get over without the help.
Exactly. Unless they
And
start having these guys interfere in everything he does, then they got to stop. This was important because there was a goal in line. He had to get the Money in the Bank briefcase.
yes,
Seth and Paul had a game plan. Braun and Bronson were the guys that were going to help execute that game plan, and the plan worked. And it didn't happen just that one night. It was built up from last Monday night on Raw getting Punk to the beatdown on SmackDown to Money in the Bank. So it all built upon itself because it was their game plan. We're going to stick to it. This is what we're going to do. So I think it made Seth look smart. So if people out there want to say that it was weak having Braun and Bronson come out, no, it was smart.
so he was the only guy that should have and did win. There's a lot of people out there PO'd that LA Knight didn't get it. He's 0 for 3 in Money in the Banks. I get it. But that briefcase in Seth's storyline is a catalyst. It's, what do you call him? Not the curmudgeon, the like the focal point, right? It's
Yeah,
like the suitcase in Pulp Fiction. I can't think of the word right now.
right. But it has a bigger
MacGuffin.
impact with Seth
MacGuffin.
MacGuffin.
Yep. It's the MacGuffin, right? He needed that. It was the MacGuffin for him. So, like, it was important for that storyline. What does LA Knight do with it? Truck it around? Okay, cool. And then what? Right? So, I think Seth needed it the most. Now he can focus on getting the title. He can now wave it in front of people and be like,
Well, now that faction has a trophy to carry around. They didn't have a trophy.
correct.
Now they got a trophy. They got a toy.
Well, they got more trophies coming. I
they
believe.
do. But I'm saying this is their first little trinket. So now more's coming. They have to have something. You just couldn't have the three of them being together for a while, not having a title you had or something. So that's just the beginning. But yeah, I thought the match was awesome. And then
It was.
when Fatu came out with Mateo and that
Ooh.
whole face turn, man,
Whew.
the camera work done was really good. They got it on. We didn't miss anything. I mean, we
Nope.
heard everything. Like the close up of after he helps Fatu get the ladder. I mean, Solo get the ladder and Solo climbs, and Fatu's just staring off, and he waits for him to hit that certain step, the last step
Yep.
before you can reach up and grab the ladder. Grabs it, and the camera zooms on it. It was
Yep.
like I was waiting for ta-da music to play in the background or something. Like it was just done so well. And then the "I hate you" solo, which was clear and audible. You couldn't
Yep.
miss it. That was a great way to interject that into the Money in the Bank match.
It was all good, man. It was all good.
And it let all the other competitors like get a couple minutes to take a breather because the
Yep.
match went 35 minutes, so it allowed those guys to kind of rest up while all that stuff went on. And then if you notice after all that went on, it was game on, and I think they kind of wrapped it up in the next 4 or 5 minutes
Yep. But
with
the
a lot of good.
stories were told. It was great.
It
I
was.
loved that match. I
Yeah.
mean, okay. One thing had me wince. It was courtesy of our friend Penta, and that was the Mexican destroyer on the freaking ladder.
Yes.
That was woof. That was a rough spot, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Andrade took that.
nothing rough about the actual execution. It just made me like, he was setting it up, and I had my hands over my face like this, and I'm going, "Oh my god, is he really set? They got to get out of this. He's not setting that up, is he?" Sure as shit, he set it up, and it was just like, this could go bad in so many ways. It didn't, thankfully, but like, wow, it
Yeah.
was awesome. And
Well,
then,
everybody's thinking about, oh, thank God Andrade didn't get hurt. Penta could have got hurt doing that maneuver just as that was a risk for both men. And didn't Andrade take a bump off the top of a ladder too earlier on? Like
he took it.
Andrade,
Everybody
Andrade
took
took
a bump.
yeah, but Andrade
Everybody
like
took
took
a
some.
bump.
Hey, real quick, Chad Gable. He did not take it easy in his match that afternoon with El Vecchino. They did some pretty. I mean, they did table spots and all that. I thought that they were going to play a little safe. Chad
Nope,
Gable went all out,
he
took
did.
big bumps.
That's why he's the MVP of the day, because
And then like he
he
took like
killed it in
serious,
both, and then he got broken in half.
yeah. And then I mean, had his back lacerated, and just like he's a beast, man. Like you got to
Yeah.
give props
I,
to Chad Gable.
I do. I give him all the props in the world. He is by far one of their most talented wrestlers, and like
He's a machine.
he is awesome, and he is so freaking good. So then we get the closer match, Matt. We get John Cena, Logan Paul versus Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. It was perfect. It was fine. It was great because there was a lot of good tag team heel work in that one. Like, oh, you want me? Too bad. Tag. And then the miscommunication at the end may set up. If Cena really does think all that of Logan Paul, like, how better to get into a match? And it becomes heel versus heel, anyways. We got another one of those cool spots with Logan Paul where he catches his drone, and you're like, oh, how cool. Next thing you know, you see like this blur right behind him, and whoop, you're watching him like go for a ride with the camera in hand and Cody. So it was cool.
It was
And
cool.
it was
It
well
was.
done.
Yeah.
The match was well done. It was well paced. Everybody got their stuff in. And my only gripe is, and we'll get into it more, Jey Uso, he's overdoing it. Jey Uso's in too many matches. Blah, blah, blah. Like, that's what you want your champ to do, right? He's your champ for a reason. So, like, I get it, but you kind of tipped your hand there.
They
And
did.
I wasn't happy about that. I would have just called it straight and not tipped the hand. Because, not to give anything away well, I'm going to give it away. It lessened Gunther's win on Monday night by tipping the hand. Because you were just sowing the seeds of doubt. And I'm not going to expand on it. We'll talk about that match. But, like, storyline-wise, you kind of screwed it up. Because you kind of gave away free chicken, as they said, and it could have been better. Like, you could have called this straight, and it makes Gunther's win on Monday more impactful. Instead, you overprotected Jay, and yeah. So,
Yeah, I know, I agree. It's kind of like they gave away how to do the magic trick, you know?
they did. They did.
So,
And it
but
was kind of
that match,
disappointing.
I thought that match was going to be average at best. I wasn't, I didn't have high expectations. That match far exceeded it, and I think John Cena did great work.
He did.
And
It's
the thing
John
was,
Cena.
but it wasn't really. He wasn't doing that extra slow pace.
No.
He brought it at times, but he picked it up, and then he gets slow, and then all of a sudden, like it was late in the match. The match went, 24 minutes, and he was getting in a high gear towards the end. So, like you talked about Cena, like his ring rust, ring rust is going away.
Yep.
That was the best he looked since he's come back this run.
It's so funny to say that about John Cena, though, right? Like, oh my God, he's getting better, and it's like it's John Cena, So it's a valid observation, but like, holy crap!
What I like is Cena's showing to the fans, even though the feud is with the fans, he's not phoning it in. It's not like a farewell run.
No,
he's not half-assing it. He's like
that comes in Atlanta. The half-assed match comes in Atlanta, and it ain't Cena.
Which one's that?
You know who?
Come on, I'm
Somebody's
tired.
getting a retiring match.
Are we talking about someone we talked about earlier in the show?
Goldberg. Yeah, he's getting his retirement match in Atlanta when they do their whole weekend thing. I think it's going to be on Saturday night's main event.
Yeah. I didn't have any. I wanted to get on some sites and check like some news. I just didn't get a chance to. But I've heard rumors about Goldberg,
that's been out there for a while, and Atlanta's the logical place for it, so it's happening.
If Goldberg hurts Cena, like Goldberg,
I didn't say he was going up against Cena, did I? No, he's just going to be there. But my point is that you're going to see a contrast. Cena's getting better, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it is.
So. Speaking of Cena, any other comments about Money in the Bank?
Yeah, we're not talking about a big thing that happened at the end of the match.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy with the guy.
Of course. Now I remember. Well, I was thrown off because it was Ron Killings that showed up, not R-Truth.
Right.
He still had the dreads at the time, so it's
yes,
R-Truth.
Truth. Yes.
Okay. Anyways, No, best. Look, if it's one of two things, it's a really cool spot and really well done with him running in, or it's like one of the greatest works ever with him coming in. Like, it's one of the two. It's still awesome because nobody saw it coming.
No,
Nobody.
no,
If you said you saw that shit coming, you're full of shit.
yes.
Because everything on the street said he's out. And like he showed up. But I was like, oh, he's too scrawny. It can't be this guy. So I walked the dog on it and I was like, oh, fuck. And it ended up being
Do you know
him.
who I thought
Everybody
it was
popped.
at first? And I was like saying to myself, why? I thought it was
Ludwig
that.
Kaiser.
No, I knew it was an African American guy. I thought it was that kid from NXT that wrestled early in the day,
Yeah.
Evans.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was. But I'm like, why is this kid in here? Unless he's trying to, it didn't make sense. And we quickly found out who the man under the hoodie was,
Yep.
to a massive pop.
Oh yeah. Well, they got what they wanted, but like I said, be careful of what you wish for because you're not getting our truth, and it's going to be different. And he's going to be a serious wrestler, and then people
You
just
could
got to be
you could
cognizant.
tell in how he beat down Cena. That was not our truth on top of
Nope.
Cena throwing punches. And our truth wouldn't fight that way, and then he would not hit John Cena with the belt. But Ron Killings would.
Yep, I agree.
So yeah, that was great, and that's set the wrestling world and the IWC and every podcast in the world on fire.
Let the debates begin.
Yeah,
I got to go back and watch it. Like I said, he was on Busted Open today. I only caught it right before I got back,
Ron
and it
was.
was yep. He was on Busted Open today, and I got to go back and watch it because it was like him, I think LaGreca and Natalia, because Natalia's doing Busted Open now too. So I
Yes.
got to go back and see what he said. But because I'm interested in the tone, so I owe answers. I have homework. So, but speaking of homework, Matt, let's get the after Money in the Bank Raw, and we're gonna like finish our homework for once. So we open up. We get a CM Punk promo that leads to John Cena coming to the ring. Look, I miss the entire Punk era. Anytime they let Punk cook is a good thing for business. Because when that guy has a mic in his effing hand, it can get beautiful if you let him roll. And they let him roll. And it was great. And Cena comes out and Cena poo-poos all over his parade. We'll talk about why it's a poo-poo on his parade, but it was so good. And I love that whole opening segment.
How about Cena calling out the internet wrestling community?
Yep.
That
Yep.
was funny. I made a line and I write it down because I'm learning the more I watch it. So when I first started this, I thought I had to take copious notes, probably because I'm also in college. But I realized if I write less, we could talk more. It's weird, but anyway, what I liked is that Punk said a line to Cena because he talked about Cena. He even mentioned him with The Rock and all that. And Punk said, "It's not about the company; it's about the people." And I thought that was a great line.
It was. It's not to minimalize it, but it's face 101.
It
You
is.
know what I mean? Like, yeah, I do it for all of you. It's face 101. But
It is Face 101, but I think the way Punk said it, because Punk's not a guy that normally would. He's not a suck up to the fans that
well,
much.
he kind of highlighted that, right? Like how things have changed. Now you got Seal Hina, face
Right.
CM Punk, voice of the voiceless, blah 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 blah.
So
You
for
know,
for Punk to say that someone that everybody knows what he's had locker room reputations and difficult to work with, and like at the end of the day, he's like, yeah, like it's kind of like, yeah, I've been a prick for 15 to 20 years, but it's not about my battles with the front office. It's not about my battles with the guys in the locker room. It's about putting stuff out, making the fans happy, entertaining the fans. So he kind of narrowed that down into what 6 words, and he covered basically what I just said about because Everybody knows that Punk was, a prick for a long time. So I just
And
thought it was effective
people
hearing it
also know
hearing
that
it from
Punk doesn't
him.
want to go to Saudi. And guess what?
He's
Cena
going to
leaned
Saudi.
into that. Well, Cena fucked him because he's either a hypocrite or just in a really uncomfortable position for him. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. Great deep cut on that one. And it was good.
Yeah,
That opening segment was
he's
freaking fire.
he's playing with Punk's personal integrity, his
Yes.
values. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had like a Punk. Oh, something popped in my head while we were talking. I'm gonna make a soft prediction right now. The Rock is going to be in the next WrestleMania. And you know who it's going to be against? CM Punk. Everybody else in WWE, when cutting promos, especially as it relates to Cody, as it relates to the Cinema belt, everyone's avoided talking about The Rock. One guy constantly brings his ass up. They're going to run it, and it's going to be Rock Punk. I'm telling you, it's coming, and it's probably at Mania next year.
So book
That's
it. Huh?
not definitely in pencil. Definitely in pencil, but the more I hear every effing time he cuts a promo and a promo towards Cena, there's always a dig at The Rock. And I wonder if he's out Cenaing Cena, right? So when it was Cena Rock, Cena was doing the same thing to The Rock, right? Like, it's on Rivals. It's just brilliant. The whole, I don't have to put my promo on my wrist and shit like that. Like, breaking down that wall, I was like, okay. But I have noticed Punk's been referencing The Rock a lot. So I wonder if might even be SummerSlam. Who knows? I think that match is coming, though. I think the next time, if you see The Rock in a ring, it is Rock Punk. So that's just my rough prediction. Anything else on this opener, man? Because
No,
it was a lot. And
it was a good
huge
one.
on story.
Yeah, it was
So
huge on story.
we get the continuation of another story. AJ Styles and Chad Gable. And the story is, we all know Americano Grande is effing Chad Gable.
No.
And yes, it's crazy. It's either that or Chad
But the nipples.
Gable.
The nipples.
Listen, it's either that or Chad Gable is like the twins from G.I. Joe, the cartoon, Tomax and Zaymot. And every time one gets hurt, the other gets hurt at the same way. It's one of the two. So it's either Tomax and Zaymot from G.I. Joe, or it's just Chad Gable is Americano Grande. It's one of the two. Either he's like a twin, or, they're the same dude. And it derails commentary. It is all Chad Gable.
See, it just derailed us for like 3 minutes.
I know. It's horrible.
All right, let's get the train back on the tracks.
All right, yep. Choo-choo.
Choo-choo. Yeah, that was a good match.
Yeah, him and AJ were doing it. AJ kind of worked him in. The ending was kind of cool. It is what it is, man. Chad Gable can't win, and his alter ego is always winning.
So just to let you know, I watched Raw from 11 to 1 in the morning, Tuesday night into Wednesday. So I might be a little foggy about details with the match. But I like the fact that they make sure that when Gable puts the mask on and dons the character of El Grande, he wrestles better. So
yeah,
my thing is when El Grande goes away, is Chad Gable just going to be fodder again for stars, or
they like him. I think he's going to be somewhere, and he's going to be in the forefront. He's going to be more towards the front of the line than he is the back.
Yes. Yep. Even though he took the loss, which is good to see AJ get a win, because ever since he's come back, he's he's going to be that guy that's just going to be like the feeder guy.
The lovable loser.
The lovable loser, the feeder guy. They're going to feed him to all the guys moving up, and he's going to be for all you old wrestling fans, he'll be Chief J Strongbow. He's going to be the guy that all the big heels face on their way up to fighting for the world title, and I don't want AJ to be that guy. So AJ's a mid-title contender. Whether or not he gets one, but at least I'd like to see him at least his win-loss be around 50-50 at least. So it could go either way. I just don't want him to see him become he wins one out of every 5 matches. Like
I
they need to.
agree.
I'd have him be at least a 50-50 guy. So he's credible. If he had a title shot, that's possible. But if he's losing every week, like, well, why is he here? But no,
Yeah,
I thought that was a really, really solid match.
it
And
was.
it was all
It
good.
was good, fun stuff. And then we get the fatal four way. So Roxanne Perez against Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, and Kairi Sane. So, a couple of things on this one. I'm happy Perez went over. She's another one with a rocket up her ass right now. Ripley doesn't need it,
Nope.
really. And
Liv's got the
then
tag belt.
we're going to talk about Liv in a little bit.
And
But
Kairi Zane's just coming back, so she's just the fact that she's in those matches is good. What I like
she's
is
been so good lately.
she has,
Her
but I
last
still
few
think
matches have been so good and on point.
she needs another month of having that solid matches, and then you can start pushing her. But I like Roxanne winning because they put her in the Money in the Bank ladder match. She made it that far. Now she's in the tournament and she's in the semifinals. So even if she doesn't win the women's King of the Ring, I'm sorry, I get Money in the Bank, the Queen of the Ring. Even if she doesn't win the Queen of the Ring, the fact that she's in the semifinals or the finals, she was in the Money in the Bank women's ladder match, she's becoming one of the top girls. So it would
Yep.
not hurt her. So for all the internet fans that, oh, if Roxanne Perez doesn't win the Queen of the Ring, you know, they're not going to do big stuff with her. Wrong.
Just
She's it.
enjoy the ride, man.
She's in
Enjoy the
that
ride.
group. She's in that top group. Like
She is.
she's in the push group.
She is
That's
in the
what it.
push group. She's
So
not in the nudge group. She's in the push group.
push group. Yes.
Yep,
So
for sure.
and she was great. And again, all 4 ladies were good. Loved Rhea, but I want to hear what you have to say about Liv Morgan.
So I don't want to talk about Liv right now. We'll talk about
Okay.
Liv in a few.
Okay.
Because so from a storyline perspective, like, yeah, the Roxanne Liv thing is always going to be complicated. But there's something else to talk about Liv about in a couple of spots here. After that, Becky Lynch comes out, whines like her heel character does. And guess who's back? Back again. Bailey. I'm going to tell you something right now, Matt. The only thing I really want of Bailey, instead of this being a face, I want this to be heel. I want her to be a heel. I want her to revamp herself and be a heel.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna make her a heel.
They're not. They're not. But I want it. She's been a face, and she isn't getting over as a face.
But even if Bailey's a face, she still kind of works heelish. She has that edgy attitude, but
I know. It's just. I don't know. I'll give it time because I need to see
I
what
think
the
if you're
character
smart,
is.
like I would have it play at the beginning Bailey's a face. And you know,
Okay.
Lyra's still there, but then Bailey realizes that Lyra's a threat to her getting back at Becky because Lyra's there. And I think that's when you slowly start to see Bailey become jealous. Maybe she turns against Lyra and she can still do something with Becky. What I'm afraid, yeah, you can have heel, but I don't want to see them kick Lyra to the curb in this feud unless there's a reason. One to elevate her and to possibly do a character change.
I don't
But
need another love triangle. Just saying. I got
true.
one already. I don't need another. It's Becky. It's Becky Bailey right now. And it'll probably be Becky Bailey at Riyadh, if I'm guessing.
So where's that for
Remember
Lyra?
doing something else.
Or
She might
well,
not be going. I don't know. Everything's wonky.
she might win Queen of the Ring.
She might. Everything's wonky. It's Saudi, so
Yeah. But I'm saying with Lyra, I mean, she's great. So however they're going to use her, she'll do great stuff. And I think now she's moving in between that mid card, upper card title picture.
Yeah.
She's definitely been shown. So yeah, Lyra's no matter what, she's still in a good spot. And right after that, we get a fantastic Ron Killings promo.
I want to talk about planting your flag and like establishing your character out of the box. Like, holy crap, that's how you do it. Yep, I'm not him. Cut my hair. This is who I am now. You acknowledge the fans. You change your character. Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect, 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 perfect.
And he stressed how the fans can influence. Like he made that a major point, which made me even think more that this whole thing was a work.
A work. Yeah. They're either capturing whatever. Yeah.
But like Mark Henry said in that same podcast, if you got lightning in a bottle, even if it only lasts 2 weeks, you take that lightning in a bottle and you run with it. So one thing I really liked about that promo, it was, of course, I loved everything Ron said and all that. I liked where he did the promo. It wasn't in the middle of the ring, standing facing hard camera. He was on the announcer's desk, surrounded by the crowd. So when the camera showed him, the crowd was around him. Like he's one of the people, like, because the people is what, if it's a story and if it's a work, they're using that the fans are the big reason why and this is why I think at some point Ron Killings, he's going to face Cena again. You might think it's weird, but I think Ron Killings is going to be the catalyst that'll start the Cena face turn. He's going to be a part of it. He has to be a part.
I kind of had that thought. Like, you broke our truth. Now we have Ron Killings. Like, there's a way around it.
Yeah, I think Ron Killings is the one to get to Cena. And I know Busted Radio was talking about Killings winning Money in the Bank and losing the Cena retirement match. I think at some point we're going to see Ron Killings, but I think maybe you see Ron Killings and Cena as a tag team towards the very end of Cena's run. Not the last match. Maybe his next to last match. They do a tag team thing together. I think there's a lot you can do with that.
Yep, I agree.
I think it's a lot. But I really think Ron Killings is going to have a big part in the end of Cena's run, especially with the turn in the face.
He's going to be the catalyst. I have no doubt now.
And I think it might be something
perfect
even
catalyst, actually.
It might even be something as The Rock doing something to Ron Killings, and that could be the reason why Cena turns, because The Rock went too far. Even though he pledged allegiance to The Rock and sold his soul, hey, that was too far. You just don't mess with Ron. But anyway, I don't want to divert too long on it. I mean,
there's a lot of story there to be told and a lot of character to flush out.
We could talk for 2 hours about Ron Killings and R-Truth. So
no, we can, but it's been done. So we get Sami Zayn defeating Braun Breaker, Penta, and Dominic Mysterio in a fatal four-way. Look, this advanced a lot of stories, and I'm sticking to the fact that they were right. Sami Zayn is a main eventer leech. They said it about him when he hooked onto the bloodline. I'm saying it now, man. He's getting himself involved again. Now it's him, Jay, and Cody. Like, whatevs. Like, we'll see how it plays out. In an ugly world, this is probably going to... Sammy made it all the way, and then he got destroyed by Gunther. He can't win the big one. Wham, wham, wham. So, I would bet money on Sammy right now, getting all the way through the tournament without knowing any better. I'll put a 5 on it.
This is when I started fighting the Z Monster, because it's now like 12:30 in the morning.
Yep.
And so I don't have any notes on it. I just put that the action was really solid. I gave it an A-, so I can't remember a lot of spots, but I enjoyed for what it was. Sammy was the right choice. You're not going to have Braun win it because...
Nope.
What, if Seth's the world champion by SummerSlam, you're going to do Braun and Seth at SummerSlam too soon?
Yeah, it is.
We already know Penta's doesn't need this. He's got other stuff to do. And Dom's the IC title holder. He was just there. But it was fun.
It was fun. It did a job.
Yeah.
And then we get Liv Morgan attacking Nikki Bella. So Liv just can't have friends that are female, apparently. But it's good to see Nikki back. I always have to ask the question to my daughter, like, is Nikki the one that got divorced, or is that the one married to Bryan Danielson? Okay, it's not the looks. It's just like I hear the name and I'm like, I don't remember which one's which.
I think Bree's married to Bryan Danielson, right?
She is.
Yep.
Yeah. But I saw a rumor today. It's only a rumor that they might be getting back together for a one-off at Evolution. But Nikki says that she's actually in for an extended run right now.
Really?
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I want to see if she still has chops, too. So, or is this going to be the, slow roll like Cena, right? Like, catching up. Yep, I'm getting my flow back,
Or like Trish Stratus's last match that she had. That was a train wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I don't either.
I'm not crapping on the Bellas, but women's wrestling was a lot different back then. I just don't know if Nikki's going to be able to match up with the. Yeah, we'll find out. I don't know. We'll see.
That's my safety valve right now. Like, I think a lot of stuff's in flux right now, so it's like it's really hard to predict storylines other than the big ones because, like, right now, all these smaller ones are like not flushed out yet or even close to flushed out. So I'm like, maybe not.
But Nikki Bella doesn't move the needle for me. Really, it doesn't.
They announced her coming back, so it was like I'm more excited that Asuka's coming back than she is.
Yes, when I saw the ad for that, I was pretty psyched.
Yeah.
That kind of woke me up for about 30 seconds when they were showing that. I was like, oh, cool.
So then we're going to wrap it up. We get Gunther defeating Jey Uso and taking the World Heavyweight title. I'm hoping there's a plan for Jey. That's one. Two, Matt, I know he's your boy, but he does not move the needle for me right now. And that match was really well done, by the way.
Yeah,
really well done. But again, you tipped your hand. You tipped your hand Friday. You tipped your hand Saturday. And then when Jey came to the ring with his kid, I said, he's losing. I said it right there and then. And he cut a Hogan-ish promo after the cameras went off. I saw it online. It was cute. It was like, yo, kids, brush your teeth, do what your mom says, stuff like that. And it was like, that's cute. Good for you. I hope there's a story there. And I don't want to just see him run it back with Jimmy. I had this big fear when it comes to Jey. Jey did a great job of getting himself over as a singles competitor. So I get wincy every time he teams up with Jimmy because I feel like we're going right back to pigeonholing him as a tag team wrestler.
No, I think this frees up Jey to be part of the Sammy Punk thing to go against the Seth faction.
Yeah, it's either that or, he might go back to Jimmy. I don't know.
I would rather see him be with Sammy because there's a little bloodline reunion there, and then, of course, Punk, just so it kind of evens up against the faction.
Well, and that's my point, right? Like, so now there's going to be factions inside factions because, Fatu's going to break apart, and I don't know.
But he's on SmackDown, so.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Draft is supposed to be after SummerSlam. I saw it today, so
that's a weird time. That makes sense though, because you can get
lining up your whole card for the rest of all the way up through Mania.
Yeah, because
So
I liked how they incorporated the sleepers at the end. That was really good.
It was
the sleepers.
It was good storytelling in the ring. It's just it was disappointing because I knew Gunther was winning.
Well,
had I not known all those like near falls and chokes and all this other stuff, would have hit home more. But because I knew he was losing, it was just like, is this the one? So
yeah. It made Gunther's win not as exciting for me as when he won it the first time.
Matt, I got bad news for you. Gunther isn't a very exciting wrestler.
He's not. When he's in the ring, I like his style, the ground and pound and the.
His style is fine, but like I've been saying this almost the entire time we do this pod. Like, I need something. I need the it factor. I need the exclamation point for him, and I haven't gotten it yet. And like sweet talking people just basically telling him like you're not worthy of the championship, and it's like, okay, but I got the title. You know what I mean? So it's like they got to figure something out for him. He needs something.
Also, the fact that he beat a weakened Jey Uso.
Yeah.
How
did we not know? They never said anything about it.
Yeah.
Wait, they said it 1,000 times.
Right.
I hate that crap.
So now,
the hand bad.
Well, the thing is, how can Gunther brag about? I mean, he's a heel; he's going to brag about it. But if he would have beat healthy, 100%, in his top form, Jey Uso, that means more than beating up a
Yeah, he's gonna turn
weakened.
it into promo material though. Like I told you, you took the eye off the ball, and blah blah blah. It's honestly, it's kind of lazy booking. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like who else beats him now? Like
Well, I also don't think Gunther's going to have as long a second reign as he did his first reign. It's going to be shorter just because I
a
think
lot
you
of
got to.
people think it's going the other way. He's just gonna be a title holder until the end. But like the problem is that like he's starting to become the guy that is worthless without the title, and it's not going to look for him.
I will agree with you that when he doesn't have the title, it seems like they have a hard time finding stuff for him to do.
Yep,
So
he's
when
going to struggle.
yeah. So I don't know if they need to put another. I don't want another wrestle with him, but like you don't want to put him with Paul Heyman, but he needs like. I kind of liked him with Kaiser because Kaiser was like he would introduce, and I'm not saying bring back Kaiser with him, but you know, the spokesperson for him. So when Gunther talks, he doesn't have to say much because he can say his, arrogant
But
European.
he's the champion of all champions. He knows how to do everything, right? Like that's the problem. You painted yourself in a corner. He doesn't need nobody. He doesn't need nothing,
Yeah.
but it is what it is.
Well, we'll see what they do with this, but I thought his mic work has been improving, just not as fast as we would want.
Yeah, it's like I said, he's just missing something and I can't put my finger on it cuz right now the arrogant soothsaying
I
like
don't like that.
champion is just
I like the Gunther that says, "I'm going to come out there, I'm going to chop you to oblivion, I'm going to kick your ass," and then like if he respects you, he'll shake your hand. That's the Gunther I like. I don't like the. I mean, I like it when Gunther tries to get like when he tries to get into Jay's head. You're not worthy. You haven't beaten me. You haven't done this. You haven't done that. That's okay, but that shouldn't be his focal point. Like I like the focal point is like, hey, I'm a legit wrestler. This is. He always wipes his feet. He talks about the ring being sacred. He should just focus on that. And yeah, he can say that's why I'm the best in the world because I take this so seriously. That's
is
what
the ring
makes me.
sacred if there's no WWE logo in the middle?
Are we gonna get on that again? I know it's a point of contention.
I couldn't pass it up because you brought it up. I just see him like, there's like some sponsor on the end, and he's like wiping his feet on it before getting in the ring. It
Yeah,
makes me laugh. But
but I don't know. But Gunther's just so good in the ring. But like in WWE, you got to have the whole package. You know.
I am the total package. Nah, but you know what, Matt? We're gonna do something crazy, something that we've never done before. We're gonna wrap this podcast up right now without hitting the 2 hour mark. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
What the hell? My camera just went.
You just fell down. Going boom. Hey, so real quick, we're a couple of vets. Sean, you just disappeared. There you go. You just Alistair Blacked it. Hey, real quick before we jump off the air here.
I seen it. You don't see me.
Yeah. Now you're flat. Now you're flashing. But tomorrow, for guys like Sean and I, it's kind of a cool day. It's the 250th birthday of the United States Army. So, a lot of cool stuff going around. So, if you see a service member, especially an Army guy, wish them a happy Army birthday. It's a big one, 250 years, and
No,
let's keep those guys safe and recognize them for what they did when today.
it's a pretty vast fraternity, and it's always interesting because I work with a lot of veterans from all the branches, but I'm not gonna lie, man. Army people got a soft spot in my heart, so
Yes.
it's like, and the Army hitting 250, and to know you know for like 20 of those 250 years, it was part of me is
Yep.
really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm proud.
Yep, me too. So I'll probably be catching a little bit of that just on the news to see what they're doing. So it's pretty cool.
Yep. It's
I
gonna
just
be
wanted to
awesome.
throw that out.
So I saw an email the other day. A post commander released his folks like 59 minutes early just for the Army Army's 250th birthday. It was kind of a cool touch. It was like one of those, you've seen them before, the mass post emails, and yeah. But no, we're not doing this. We're not going to get wrapped up. Happy Army's birthday. Matt, tell the folks where they can find us.
You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on TikTok. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, depending. Sorry, we have not posted some shorts in the last couple of days with the travel and everything, but we'll make sure that we get them up. But thank you for those who've been watching and commenting. We appreciate your comments. Please like and subscribe, and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies. Check us out. And with that, till next time, that's all I got.
Yeah, folks, again, like Matt said, go ahead, like, subscribe, hit those thumbs up, whatever you do. And then on top of that, happy birthday to the Army, 250. It's awesome. We'll talk to y'all next week. Have a good one.